Welcome back, Southwest Florida and around the world who may be looking at us on the new social media World Wide Web. I'm old school. When I first got started in television, there was no such thing as the internet or the World Wide Web. So now people can see us all over the world. And what better person to be seen all over the world than with my good friend Samira Beckwith of Hope Healthcare, one of the finest healthcare organizations in all the land. Welcome to Lead Pitch Live again.
Thank you, Lee. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
How did you like that introduction?
I loved it, and I remember when there was no internet.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because you and I sort of got started in television around the same time. Things have really changed since then, right?
And changed very quickly. So what I'm really impressed with is the way that you've kept up and ahead of some of the rest of us. I remember when I had my show,
right,
years ago, and it's really important to do that because the way you reach so many people is very important.
You know, I got to go back in my archives because I got the interview when I came on your show out at, you had a nice layout out at your at Hope Hospice, and that was one of my favorite interviews because I was on the other side of the camera. You were interviewing me. People rarely see me on the other side of the camera. And in the future, you're going to be interviewing me. I'll be on the other side of the camera. I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it also, and I think people will really enjoy it.
Don't try to zing me, though. Don't get me with a zinger. But I think that's going to probably take place this summer. Right? I'm already calculating it. I have to think it through.
Perfect.
And you and I focus on my media, my work, my media growth there. Because when we first met, you knew me. You knew I was doing dual things. I was a TV guy and a bank vice president.
Correct.
You have come so far since then. At that time, I think you only had like one property, Hope Hospice.
Yes.
And now you're like all over the place. Kind of describe your footprint.
Well, now we have, in addition to Hope Hospice, we have Hope PACE, Program for All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. We have Hope Connections in Hendry and Glades County, and we have 4 hospice houses, and we have, I think it's a total of 15 or 16 different offices.
What does that say about the need?
We hope says to people in the community that we continue to look for unmet needs, and we develop programs and services to take care of the people who live in the communities that we serve, so that we're really identifying that, and that we're very inclusive, taking care of people in so many different communities throughout Southwest Florida.
Early on, you said that one of the things that you admired about me is that I kept up with the times. Based on what you're saying, Hope Healthcare has managed to keep up with the time. Things are always changing in terms of needs, and you're learning all the time. It never ends in terms of end-of-life care?
Absolutely, and I appreciate that comment about the fact that the similarity, because people suffer and people have different needs, and our goal, our mission, is to help people during the final chapter of life, and that might be days, weeks, months, or years. People who are aging, who have serious illness, who have advancing illness, and we're there for them as well as for their family members and really their friends and the community, because everyone is affected, and it's so important that people have the right care at the right time.
Now, a lot of times people try to keep their elderly relatives or people they love at home during those times like that. Certainly in the African American community, we have a tendency to not want to put them away. Kind of talk about that, the pros and cons of that, and how Hope Healthcare fits into that.
It's so important that we actually find out from the person and the family what their needs are and what their choices are, because at one time, people really did want to stay at home for as long as possible. And I find that that's really changing. You talked about the African American family and really some of the other minority families or underserved families. And that's really changing because of the fact that people's needs have increased. They have complex needs. And I really believe that people are starting to understand that finding help earlier is better, so that they don't have to suffer taking care of someone not knowing how to do the right thing. And at the same time, if somebody wants to stay at home, we have medical equipment, medication, staff, nurses, doctors, volunteers, chaplains that can all come in and help keep that person at home.
When that physician or your healthcare expert mentions that word hospice, a person should not panic. How should they best handle that word?
Yeah, and it's a very good question because, you know, it's part of the life cycle, birth and death. And so birth people are really excited about. It's a family event. Well, the end of life, somebody's life, their transition to the next life is also a family event or a family time. And yet we're afraid of that time because it's a time of great loss and sadness. And we don't know what's going to be happening next for sure. And also because of the fact that people have heard about other people's pain or not wanting to be a burden, different kinds of things like that. And I really think that something that's happened recently that's very helpful for our community is the fact that President Carter accepted hospice care at home.
Oh.
And he's really on hospice quite a long time. And people have come to equate the word hospice to meaning death in the next few days. And we have to break that misunderstanding that, again, we've had people be on service for 2 or 3 years on hospice. And so we want to get that message out. So it's a very good question.
Is there a direct correlation going from what you just said to the length that you may continue to live based on the quality of experts working with you?
Absolutely, there is. In fact, there have been studies that have shown that people who are on hospice actually live longer than those who are not referred to hospice. We know they live better because our entire focus is to help them make choices about how they want to spend that time and to live their best life even in the face of a very serious illness that really is a terminal prognosis, not knowing when that time will come and wanting them to be able to have that control. What do they want to do? Is there a last wish? Do they want to maybe reconnect with family members? Do they want to have a party? Do they want to go to skydive? That's what it's about, looking at what they can do,
Gotcha.
not what they can't do.
Hope Pace. What is Hope Pace, and what are some unique features about it that you're so proud of?
Well, the reason we started Hope Pace, Program for All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly, is because we had some people in the community who needed our special kind of care, and yet they did not meet the hospice criteria. And they needed coordinated care to be able to come to a center. We like to call it the Pace Center, our club, and they can come there during the day, maybe get away from their family, or their family member can go to work or go to their own appointments, have some respite. They can come there for bingo or manicures, pedicures. I've been there on Mani-Pedi Day. People are having a great time. They can also see a physician, a nurse practitioner, have PT, have occupational therapy, or just hang out with friends for the day.
Sound like a rec center for that you can just
Yeah,
Now,
right.
as a Hope Pace, we have numerous sites in Southwest Florida.
We do. We have 3 in Lee County. We have one in Lehigh. We have one down on Evans Avenue, across from the old Southwest Regional Hospital. I shouldn't say that because some people are new to the community and they'll say, where is she talking about? But you and I know where that is. And then also we have one in Cape Coral. We have one in Collier County and we have one in Charlotte County. So we have them spread out so that people can have, and we provide the transportation. So if the family can't drop them off.
Is it fair to assume that people who are elderly are the hospice clients, or do they come in wide range of ages?
Well, for PACE, there are people who are over 55 who really need some help with their activities of daily living. and they have some serious illness, but not a terminal prognosis. Now in hospice, we take care of people at Hope Hospice who are babies, all ages. We have a children's program. We have 100 children in that program, under 18, and the oldest person who's been in our care was 104.
If somebody's listening to us right now and they want to tap into Hope Pace, there's transportation that can be provided. How do they do that? Do they go to that phone number, that website we're seeing on the screen, or do they have to be referred by their primary health care provider? How does all that work?
Yeah, they can call us directly.
Okay.
We will talk with them, find out about their circumstances, and then set up a visit to the center. And it's really coordinated care for them. It's all inclusive. And that's why it's so important, because it also includes the medicine as well as the equipment and the transportation.
For radio purposes, I'm going to ask you to give a phone number and a website.
Yes, our main number is 239-482-4673. Our website is hopehcs.org. And that will actually connect a person to all of our services. And if they're not eligible for one of our services, or it's not the best fit, we will help them look at all of our other services and find the best fit for them and their family.
Tell me about the sandwich generation.
Well, you know what?
The sandwich.
Well, you know what? There's those of us who are caring for our children and also caring for our parents. And so we become the middle of that sandwich. And you know, being a caregiver is a lot of work. And everyone who's been a caregiver knows that. And so our goal is to find the opportunity for people to receive our care and services earlier, because we know that they have to take care of themselves so they can take care of their children and their parents, or maybe other elderly family members that they've taken the responsibility to help care for.
You know, it's really interesting, you know, doing this TV show, that I learn about all these things indirectly. And when I first started interviewing you, say 25 years ago, 30 years ago, my parents were not old. Now they're in their 90s. and all the things that you're talking about, we are dealing with that now. The siblings. Do they generally fall, the children generally fall, the children end up having to work through that process, right?
Absolutely, and that becomes a sandwich generation,
Okay.
because you know you want the best for your parents, and they're not able to do as much as they used to do, and so the siblings take care of them, and it's really important to plan for that particular time. You know, people plan for their vacations, they plan for so many different things in life, but they don't plan for what they're going to do when they get older. And having good children really helps. Maybe that was your parents' plan, to have good children.
Well, it's working out, but there's a lot of work going in there. And then what also within that dynamic is the different children. We're using children in this particular case so people at home can relate.
Right.
All of us have different ways that we think things should go. Would an organization like Hope Healthcare, Hope Pace, or these types of organizations help us in that as well?
Yes.
How to make it a smoother process?
Absolutely, because you're absolutely right. We each have our own perspective and idea about what's best for our parents.
Correct.
We'll use this as an example. Same thing happened with our family, with my mom. And each of us had a different idea of what was best for her, you know, who the caregivers should be, those kinds of things. And so having someone who can, in a sense, help everyone to understand what the parents want is really important. And then also help everyone decide how they can work together on that goal. Sometimes it's not easy because there are strong beliefs or opinions. And so if we can provide as much information, then I think that's very helpful.
We're sitting here in Post 38, the American Legion. Veterans benefit from this place. You, Hope Healthcare, have a strong component as it relates to our veterans.
We do. We love taking care of everyone, and that includes the veterans and their families in this community. we have a special program titled the Hope Valor Program, and we have volunteer veterans who come out to the home or to the nursing facility or the ALF or the hospital or the hospice house, wherever the person is, the PACE Center, and provides a ceremony of gratitude for the veteran to let them know how very important their service has been to the country and to the community.
That's wonderful. When we see all those buses riding around here with hope on them, what are they doing? Where are they going?
You know, they're picking up people and taking them to appointments, taking them to the PACE Center, the Hope, I like what you said, the Rec Center, the club, and taking them there, or maybe taking them to a specialist that they need to see to help the family. You know, we were talking about the needs of our older relatives or older community members, and they need to go to different places. And sometimes the family who is working, you know, doesn't have the ability to always do that. So we're just helping out with what the needs are.
The state of Florida, and particularly here in Southwest Florida, we have, I think I've read some stats, but we have the older where I know it used to be one of the older populations were here. Is that changing? And if, in general, what type of special dynamics does that put on an organization like Hope Healthcare when we have all of these older people living in this one particular region of the country?
You know, it continues to be a great need. And even though the age of our communities is going down because we have younger people moving in, and at the same time, there's still a great need. And we need volunteers so if anybody out there wants to volunteer at our organization or another valuable community organization anywhere across the country or the world, because now people are listening in from all over, it's very important that people stay connected because, you know, we can learn a lot from people during this chapter of their life. And a great gift that they can give is to share maybe some information from their past experience. And I think that's also a great benefit and gift.
Well, we're just blessed to have Hope Healthcare in our community. It's always a thrill to chat with you and to educate the people and give them some sense of, hey, there's help out there. And I always want you to leave people with letting them know that regardless of their economic status, their income, there's a way to tap into your services.
Absolutely, because we're here to care for all people. We're all inclusive, our entire organization, economic status, ethnic group, everything. I mean, it's just hard to list everything. Education, we care for people who have no reimbursement. We care for people who have the best reimbursement, and everyone receives the highest level of care. That's so important to us. We will never compromise on quality of care for anyone in our service area.
How long in the area?
We've been in the service area here for over 40 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Fair to say the leader in the community.
Well, we have been. We've been here for quite some time, and will continue to be a very important part of our community, integrated into the fabric of our community.
Samira's been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to be with you.
As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like all the fine people at Hope Healthcare and Samira Beckwith who are doing it. And remember, Miami may have the oranges, but Hope Healthcare has got
I love this, the juice.
The juice. We'll see you.